Hello everyone. Today I want to discuss with you the topic of overthinking and how to control your thoughts, my dear friend. Have you ever felt like you're not just overthinking, but completely drowning in your own thoughts? You constantly replay every word from yesterday, rehearse arguments that never happened, and imagine hundreds of terrible things that could happen tomorrow. If I told you that the solution isn't trying to think less, but learning how to master the stream of your thoughts, would you be willing to listen? You're not just overthinking. You're deeply submerged in it. You analyze every word you've spoken. You construct arguments that never occurred. You imagine all the ways things will fail tomorrow. And after all that, you just feel exhausted. But here's what you need to know: overthinking isn't your fault. It's just the default mode of a mind that hasn't been properly trained. A mind left to be swept away by chaotic streams of thought, without active control. Most people offer a very simple piece of advice: just stop overthinking. Sounds logical. But that advice is as useless as telling someone with insomnia, just go to sleep. It doesn't work. The real solution isn't trying to do more. It's learning to think less intentionally, selectively. Stoicism, from thousands of years ago, pointed out the path: learn to detach yourself from the chaos. Learn to reclaim the peace within your mind. If you're tired of being trapped in your own head, if you want to break free from this loop, then today's message is for you. 1. The illusion of control. Why does overthinking make you think you're progressing? At the root of overthinking is a false belief: if I think a little more, I'll find the perfect solution. I'll avoid pain. I'll avoid failure. But the Stoics understood long ago, that's just a sweet lie. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Overthinking tricks you into believing you're in control of everything. But in reality, you're just creating a mess in your own head. You rewind the past, analyze spoken words, try to predict the future. But none of that changes reality. Life doesn't bend to your worries. It just continues to unfold, despite the spirals of thought. Stoicism teaches us, let go of what's beyond your control. Focus on taking the right action, not endless analysis. You can waste your whole life trying to think your way to safety. Or you can step out and face reality and start truly living. 2. Your mind is addicted to noise. Have you ever sat in silence and felt restless? Itchy to open your phone? Wanting to turn on music? Or scroll through social media to fill the emptiness? That's not because you're bored. It's because your mind is avoiding itself. Overthinking becomes a habit because silence feels dangerous when you haven't learned how to face your own stream of thoughts. The modern world has programmed you to fear silence. But the Stoics knew, clarity can only be found in stillness. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." When you don't give your mind space to breathe, it will continue to spin, creating problems even when there are none. The solution isn't to add more distractions. The solution is to learn to sit still, watch your thoughts pass like clouds, and realize that they are just thoughts, not facts. 3. You don't need more answers. You need action. One of the biggest tricks overthinking plays on you is, You need more information. Think a little more. Then you can act. So you hesitate. You analyze. You doubt every decision. And ultimately, you become paralyzed. The Stoics didn't glorify overthinking. They glorified action. Epictetus reminded us, don't explain your philosophy. Embody it. You can't think your way to a changed life. Only action creates change. Overthinking is often just a disguise for fear, fear of being wrong, fear of failure, fear of being judged. But ironically, action is what makes fear disappear. You don't overcome fear by thinking more. You overcome it by daring to take a step. Smooth transition to page 2. So how do you stop overthinking and start taking real action? How do you turn stillness and action into daily living habits? We will explore that in the next part. The Stoics weren't just philosophers. They were warriors of action. Epictetus emphasized, don't explain your philosophy. Embody it. Thinking alone cannot change your life. Only action can do that. Overthinking, in the end, is just a mask for fear, fear of making mistakes, fear of facing discomfort, fear of being judged by others. But ironically, it is action that makes fear meaningless. You don't conquer fear by thinking more. You conquer it by stepping forward, even when you still feel anxious. If you crave peace, stop chasing the perfect answer. Start building imperfect momentum, because perfection is just an illusion. And movement, no matter how small, is what truly changes your life. 4. You are not your thoughts. This is a truth that most people never realize. You are not the thoughts in your head. Thoughts are just fleeting signals, formed from your environment, memories, habits. But when you fall into the trap of overthinking, you start to believe that every stream of thought is the truth. You assume that every fear, every doubt, every pessimistic story is real. The Stoics had an extremely powerful method, cognitive distancing, creating distance from thoughts. Marcus Aurelius often wrote in his journal, "This is just a thought. It does not control me." Just imagine, you can stand outside the tangled thoughts in your head, watching them as an observer, not a victim. The moment you stop identifying yourself with the stream of thought, overthinking loses its power. Your mind is a tool, not your ruler, and like any tool, it needs to be sharpened, and needs to be put down when it's no longer needed. 5. Overthinking is a sign you're not living in the present. There's a common thread among all the spirals of overthinking: they exist in the past or the future. Regretting what's gone. Worrying about what hasn't happened. But what about real life? It only happens in the present. The Stoics always reminded us, the past is dead. The future is uncertain. Only the present is real. Every time you return to this moment, overthinking has nowhere to latch on. Take a deep breath. Feel the air around you. Ask yourself, right now, what small but right thing can I do? Just a question like that. Its power far exceeds 1,000 useless thoughts. The present is where peace resides. The present is where real life happens. The present is also where overthinking ends. 6. Let go or be dragged. The wisdom of acceptance. Most overthinking is actually just disguised resistance. You're trying to fight reality, trying to bend it into something more comfortable. But Stoicism teaches us the opposite: accept courageously. Not as passive surrender, but as wise recognition that you don't have to like everything that happens to you. But you must stop fighting what is already true. Like the saying in Zen, let go, or be dragged. When you argue with reality, you always lose. Letting go isn't weakness. Letting go is true strength, the strength to choose peace instead of a futile struggle. The more you accept what's beyond your control, the more you gain control over your own mind. And once you control your mind, overthinking has no place to stand. You begin to truly live. Conclusion: 100 words. Remember, overthinking is not mindfulness. It's not wisdom. It's not a sign of intellectual depth. It's just a trap. A loop that convinces you that if you just think a little more, you'll find the answer. But the truth is, life doesn't happen in thoughts. It happens in decisions, in actions, in the present moment. If this message resonates with you, please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel so we can build a stronger mind together every day. Remember, you are not your thoughts. You are the one observing them. Overthinking is not mindfulness. It's not wisdom. It's not a sign of intellectual depth. It's just a trap. A loop that convinces you that if you just think a little more, you'll find the answer. But the truth is, life doesn't happen in thoughts. It happens in decisions, in actions, in the present moment. The Stoics understood that thousands of years ago. They knew that peace doesn't come from thinking more, but from thinking rightly and acting rightly. If this message resonates with you, please hit subscribe, give it a like, and comment sharing your thoughts. Let's build a stronger, more peaceful mind together every day. Remember, you are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind them.